the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA, where we remind you every single weekday that you're absolutely fucking amazing. And you are. And I wrote a book about it because you need to be reminded every day. I need to be reminded every single day, right? Our experience changes every day, and we fall out of this idea that we're absolutely amazing, and we listen to other people, and you know after a while you lose that remembering. So that's why I'm here to remind you that you're absolutely amazing exactly as you are. You don't have to change, you don't have to be any different. You just have to be you. Oh, you're off the hook. Hey, Marissa, what's up? Welcome to the morning show. Wednesday, August 4th, 2021. The only one we're going to get. It's exciting to be here, and I'm really looking forward to today's show. I got a special guest coming on in a minute. But the first thing we're going to kick off with, well, you know. Hey, Tiffany, how are you from Missouri? Ah, love it. All right. Get ready. Get ready. Yeah, the daily love. It's a good one today. And it is about being yourself. Hey, Eric, welcome aboard. All right. So here we go. The daily love. This comes from You Are What You Think. So True by Dr. Wayne Dyer. All right. Good morning, Green Nurse. Here we go. The imbalance between your desire for a healthy body that feels great and persistently unhealthy habits is not remedied by simply changing those habits. You must have a firm determination to learn the art of passionately believing in something that doesn't yet exist and refuse to allow that picture to be distorted by you or anyone else. Truly, you are not what you eat or how much you exercise, but rather what you believe about the you that you're presently birthing in your thoughts. Oh, that's so good. I love Wayne Dyer. I love all of his stuff. I always have. And today, he's talking about it's all about what you think about yourself. And that's what the book was about, right? It's about knowing, thinking that you're absolutely amazing exactly as you are. Yes, Sherry, you are AFA for sure, without a doubt, as is everybody else who's listening today and my guest who's coming on in just a minute. And so here's the thing, folks. You can change all of the things about you that you want until you have a picture in your mind of you as a positive being. Exercise all you want, diet all you want. That's what I did. I did, up until I was probably in my mid 40s. Love you too, Nurse Sherry. Up until I was in my mid 40s, I looked in the mirror and I saw a fat kid because when I was an adolescent, I was chubby. I couldn't buy a date with a fistful of $100 bills. I was just not attractive. And I carried that with me well into my 40s. And so I would diet and I would exercise. And no matter how much weight I lost or how good I looked, I still saw a fat kid in the mirror. Until I got rid of that, oh my gosh, or when I got rid of that, and realized I'm absolutely amazing. And again, so are you. When I got rid of that, diet, exercise came easy. It's easy for me. I've weighed the same weight for the last 10 plus years. Like I work out, I eat right. I don't have a specific diet anymore that I follow. I've done them all, but it just works because I love me. So it's all about what you think. Ah, oh, that was good. Morning, Brian. Okay, so my guest host today, because Nurse Sherry is having some fun and enjoying life as she should. So I'm bringing in some big guns because oh my gosh, how can anybody replace Nurse Sherry? There's no way. So I got to bring in big guns to kind of hang with me while she's out, enjoying her life as she should, the best life. So, my guest host today is Jimmy Young. Now, Jimmy has over 40 years' experience in commercial television and radio, and he's one of the rare professionals in the industry who has had success in front of the camera and in sales management. Not an easy thing to do. He's currently the founder of Pro Cannabis Media, a group of like minded content producers who create news, information, and educate the public about the cannabis industry, while also creating strategic marketing plans in the highly regulated cannabis industry. In May of this year, PCM TV launched a 24/7 news, information, and educational content on Roku to go with Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and procannabismedia.com. So in June, PCM TV was added to the App Store on Apple TV and now live streams that content on procannabismedia.com. He produces 3 shows a week: In the Weeds with Jimmy Young, Weed Talk News, and The Green Rush Live. Over his career, his accomplishments have included being an Emmy award winning talk show host, record setting sales account manager, 4-time Emmy nominations in sports production, original TV color analyst for the New England Revolution MLS soccer team, college instructor, WBZ-TV4 Boston sports producer at age 20, founder of Young Broadcasters of America, and today, of course, current founder of Pro Cannabis Media. Let's welcome Jimmy Young. Jimmy, welcome.
Man, I must be old.
Dude, when you get and I didn't even go through the whole thing, okay? When you have a resume like that, yeah, I know, I'm getting to the same place. I'm like, damn, I got to sit down and make it look like I'm just getting going.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to be
Welcome.
here, and I know I have big shoes to fill. And if Nurse Sherry is watching, don't
She
worry.
is.
I won't be taking over for you. That's for
Oh
sure.
my
I
God,
can tell
nobody
you
can
that.
take over for her. She's Nurse Sherry, for God's sakes.
That's right.
Yeah,
Absolutely. One
so
of a kind. One of my
yeah.
favorite
Oh
people.
my God, so blessed to have her as my partner in crime, and we have a lot of fun together. And you know what? We're on your channel.
Yes, you are.
Like
In
we're
fact,
streaming right now onto
yes, we are.
the Pro Cannabis Media channel.
Yep, and Roku and Apple and Twitch and Facebook and YouTube and I think Periscope at this point. It's whomever will take this live stream pretty much. And we're so
Absolutely.
happy that nurseMARK and Nurse Sherry, the Green Nurse Group show, every morning now at 8 a.m. Eastern is part of our live stream. What we do, Mark, and if you look at the big picture of media and everybody likes to put, oh, do you do TV? You do print? You do radio? Do you do digital? We're multimedia. We're visual radio, if anything. In other words, we have
I
a
love that.
format that we talk about: cannabis, news, information, education, talk. This is what we do. That's what you do if you check us out on any one of those entities, any one of those channels that is out there streaming at 24/7. We do have a 12-hour program loop that we repeat, but we also can insert these kinds of live shows over our live stream. That's a lot of live. That's a lot of life, right? And
Yes.
that's what it's
Yes.
all about. That's what your show's all about, isn't it?
It is, man. We have a good time every day, and we have a normal format that we follow. Sherry's really, really good about organizing sort of the content in each day. Wednesdays, we're typically talking about some specific disease or something that cannabis can be effective for. But now that she's hanging and having fun, I figure, what the heck? Let's just bring on some guest hosts and talk about some different stuff that we haven't talked about in a while. And so today, we have Jimmy, we have a community, a private community on Mighty Networks, and it's a holistic caring community because we're, the Green Nurse is aligned with holistic caring. And it's this amazing partnership, and we're just moving this thing forward together. And the reason we have this private community, and we're telling everybody to to join us, because it's free and there's free cannabis education, and we're telling everybody to join us because it's unfiltered, it's uncensored. Let's talk about what are some of the challenges in the cannabis industry, in media specifically. What's your experience been?
Well, I'll be honest, since I control the content and I control the live stream, we welcome everything. And the cannabis industry as a whole is still dealing with that stigma every single day.
Right.
Facebook. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people say Facebook took us down, Instagram took us down, YouTube took us down. Those social media platforms are trying to deal with the inconsistencies of our federal government that has what we call, well, excuse me, what Judge Thomas called contradictory laws.
And aren't they contradictory laws? We
Absolutely.
talked about that last week, Jimmy. We talked about the fact that on one hand, the DEA says that that marijuana, cannabis, is a Schedule One drug and has no medicinal use, and yet the NIH, another national organization, government organization, filed a patent in 2003 for cannabis as a medicine. So it's like, okay, folks, which one of you is right? Well, we know which one's right, but how do we get this other one to change? Hopefully,
Right.
you know.
At least I see a movement. Let's just say there's definitely a movement right now. The
Oh yeah.
poll, 70% of Americans believe this plant should be legalized.
Mhm.
91% see the medicinal benefits of this plant in whatever capacity, whether you're talking about one of the, hundreds of cannabinoids that are in the plant or, but I want to go back to the media for a second because
Yeah.
I think this
Let's
is
get back
really
to that.
important. Okay. It's one of the things that bugs me a lot about where we're at as a society right now. If you've been following the news, Facebook has been called before Congress. They're being asked to
Mhm.
police themselves as a media company. But
Yeah.
now that the consumer, you, me, and other people who are watching this are in charge of basically putting out their own content. You can have your own YouTube channel, you can have your own Facebook page, you can have your own Twitter handle, and you can even do some of that anonymously. Not something I actually preach. I don't like that at all. That being
Right.
said, why is it that commercial media outlets like NBC, CBS, CNN, all of those have to apply for a license to the FCC and be and get approved for their programming? Now, a lot of, well, what about the First Amendment? Come on, people. The First Amendment has survived for a couple of hundred years. All right.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and the FCC has done everything they can to protect the First Amendment. But I
Mhm.
think every single one of the human beings we recognize there is a difference between right and wrong, good and evil. Okay. And you as a human have to make that decision. Which path do you want to follow? Right. So my point is, now that the FCC was originally brought into the world by our federal government to protect the public airwaves, right?
Right.
Because you're not
Right.
supposed to be able to yell fire in a crowded theater. That's dangerous, right? We know that.
Mhm.
But where are we getting our information now? You don't think we're getting it over Wi-Fi, which is a form of over-the-air distribution of content? So,
Well, yeah.
I
It
mean,
is
so
it is absolutely.
So what's the difference between the public airwaves, right,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Wi-Fi? And I have the answer. You ready?
Oh,
The answer is we opt in to Wi-Fi. We opt in to have communication to our
it's funny
phone.
you say that, Jimmy, because, in the last probably 6 months, I have not been on Facebook much at all.
Yeah,
Maybe once a week I'll pop something up, maybe,
yeah,
because it was a conscious decision on my part that I didn't want to consume any more of the madness that was on there. It's
right,
like, this is silly. I'm checking a Facebook stream. None of this shit's real.
right.
So,
That's
what
right.
am I going to continue to do
Right.
that? So I
Yep,
made a decision on my own that I was just going to back away from it. And my life has not materially been impacted in a negative way. Let me just say that
that's
it's
right.
actually been good.
That is good. And
Yeah,
it's much better that way. And again, so while we appreciate the importance of free speech,
yeah.
it really needs to be guided because humans, as you know, nurseMARK, we're frail beings. We have some issues, let's just say. And I love how you
We're really
start.
good at making stuff up, Jimmy.
Yes, we
It's
are.
what we do best. We
To
make
fit,
stuff up. But
to
when we
fit,
talked about that earlier this week in
right,
the Daily Love, we talked about the fact that there's an event that happens and then we make a meaning about it.
right. We make
Which
it
one's
fit
real?
our agenda.
Of
We make it
course.
fit our lives, what we
We can't
think
not
is
do
real.
that.
Yeah, no,
We
that's
can't.
make
That's
believe.
just how we're wired. We have to do that. It's automated. We don't have any control over it. We think we're using this great prefrontal cortex. and we do from time to time. But most of the time, it's just all an automated process. Your brain is so powerful and so marvelously wonderful in keeping you alive that it's built to just automatically make a judgment. Good, bad, right, wrong,
Right.
just like that.
And there are people out there who are actually hacking into your brain
Oh,
and making you think the way they want you to think. Okay.
hence the reason I'm not on Facebook that much anymore,
Right.
because it is a psychological tool just like all of the other apps, and it, they've written books about this, and
Right.
it's just how they're designed. So anyway, all of them can be censored, right?
Right.
Facebook, YouTube, but
Yeah. I
you
don't
have
like
no
the word
control over those.
censorship. I don't like the word censorship. I
Yeah,
like,
well, what is it? It's what would you call it?
well, I'll be honest. Are you a parent?
Yeah, I have three lovely, lovely offspring.
Okay. So, as a parent, you understand the importance of boundaries, right? You set boundaries for your children to keep them safe, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
The same thing should be applied to media. And I'm not saying, you know, the grand poobah in the world is going to say, okay, this is right, this is wrong, this is left, this is, right, this is liberal, this is conservative. That's half the problem. Okay, that's half the problem because the consumer's in charge now of their own content, what they watch, when they watch, how they watch it. So you get to decide what you want to do. That as opposed to broadcasting, right? The world I came from was broadcasting. We had to be careful to make sure that the information that we did share with the public was accurate and
Hmm.
balanced. But that has disappeared since social media has come on, hasn't it?
Yeah, that has been one of the, I don't know what you want to call it, unintended consequences, maybe
Collateral damage
collateral damage,
of
unintended
technology. Yep.
consequences. Yeah, it's just part of, that phenomenon of social media. Yeah. So, our thing is, the reason we have this private community is there are some things that we can't say because of the legality of cannabis, that, a Facebook or a YouTube will take us down
Right.
if we share that information.
Do you
And
know that
so,
can I
yeah.
tell you a real quick story about
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
You know how YouTube will take down channels if they find them to be offensive or what have you?
According
We,
to their community standards.
right. We have produced well over 2,000 videos over the last 2.5 years. Only one has been taken down. Do you know what that one was?
No.
It was when we talked to a person who was denied a COVID test, even though she had the symptoms of COVID, and she was turned down for a test at MGH, and she had COVID. Okay. We had that on our live show back in March of 2020, if you remember
Yeah.
those days when, my God, it feels like it's 5 years ago. But still, that's the only thing that got taken down because they thought we were sharing misinformation about COVID treatments. And that was early. I mean, we're talking, the
Yeah.
first few weeks of March of
Right.
2020. We all know that we were all running around crazy back then, didn't know what the hell was going on, right?
Oh, yeah, man. I know. I was living in New York City. It was a crazy time.
Yes,
Holy
escape
cow.
from New York, actually.
Manhattan. That's what I did. I
Right,
could write a book. It's called Escape from New York.
right.
I literally, packed my apartment in one afternoon into a truck, and away I went. Yeah. Anyway, that's a story for another day. So, Jimmy, here's I just put the link for our Green Nurse Holistic Caring Community. And, there's so much content in education available, in community for people that want to be able to have a conversation, an open, fact-based, evidence-based conversation about cannabis that we can have on these other media channels.
And you can't do a public service announcement on commercial television or radio because, after all, that would be serving the public with information. We wouldn't want to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know.
It's and people say, how are we ever going to get over this? Well, it's tough. They've made it extremely hard for the industry to get their stories out, and that's one of the reasons why I started Pro Cannabis Media way back when. I saw an
Right.
interview with a reporter on a network TV channel interviewing a CEO of a major multi-state operator, and
Yep.
the reporter had not done any homework and just hit him up with all these myths and stereotypes that have been perpetuated by the propaganda from 1937. Okay.
We have been fed a lot of stuff since 1937. Actually, it started in 1933. That's when the bullshit started to flow.
That's right. Exactly right.
1933, and it hasn't stopped since.
And
Well, it
and
seems
yet,
to be abating a little bit now, but
no, it definitely has. And one of the things I always tell people when they bring up, what about this? What about that? What about that? I said, let me ask you a question. If you were seeing a doctor from Harvard Med or Yale Med or NYU Med, and they prescribe cannabis for you as a medicine, would you believe in that? And of course, they'd say, well, of course, they went to medical school. They're smart. They're doctors. Blah, blah, blah. In the 1920s, 5 million prescriptions for cannabis were written by doctors in the
absolutely.
United States of America
There were
for
over 600
cannabis.
products, and
And
we're talking companies like Eli Lilly.
right,
Pharmaceutical companies had cannabis medicinal products. Yeah, ridiculous.
ridiculous
So
is
that's what
right.
I like to say. I like to say, you know what? The docs were against, but we'll just say it real quick. The American Medical Association testified in Congress in 1937 and said, listen, this is a ridiculous idea. You shouldn't do it. And they were overruled by, senators who knew more than they did. These were the same senators who did not vote in an anti-lynching bill that same year. So
Yeah.
that's the level of intelligence that we're working with at that
And
particular
I'm
point
not
in
quite
time.
sure we've evolved too far from that.
I'm not quite sure we've evolved too far from then either. I don't know what the
It has
answer is,
become
though.
a systemized,
Yeah,
based on, we all know it. The word, we haven't said it yet. The word is race. Okay.
right.
People,
Well,
our
cannabis
law
is a perfect
enforcement,
example, Jimmy.
what's that?
Cannabis is a perfect example.
They, they being the law enforcement people out there, the laws that were in place and those that were in charge of enforcing those laws were able to look at a person of color and say, I bet they've got weed on them. Let's go bust them.
Right. I know.
And
I
they
know.
filled our jails with people like that. And that is one of the most cruel injustices of our modern times. And I
Yes.
am so happy to be part of a movement to upset that and get those
Yeah.
people
Well, think about it,
out of
Jimmy.
prison.
We upset I'm in on this. We upset generations of families.
That's right.
Generations.
But
That's not right.
we being the old white man, let's
Yeah,
just
we
face
being
it,
the
Mark.
old white man, let's be honest about it. We did. And so I am with you 100%, so passionate and happy to be here to try to do anything to right that wrong,
Right.
to make that not the case.
Let me ask you a question, and we
Yeah.
did not rehearse this, okay? In the news today, there's a certain governor of a certain state, big state. Everybody knows who I'm talking about, who's being charged with sexual harassment, not once, not twice, I think a dozen times, okay?
Mhm.
He's been
Mhm.
asked to resign now by the president of the United States,
Yep.
okay? How, why is it that power, you and I know
Yeah.
how infectious that virus is, power,
Oh,
okay?
it's so
Where
it is. It's a disease.
and that is a dangerous tool in the hands of people that have money, control, politicians. You
Mhm.
put them, we elect them because we believe in them, and then what happens? They become human and filled with power. Well,
It is the human condition.
where's the prescription to curb that power? Where are those checks and balances in our lives that we
Right.
supposedly have in our government, right? But we don't. It's really, we're in a very, very delicate time in our history. And
Yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
interested to see what happens. And the amazing thing that cannabis is right in the middle of it all is
Cannabis
bizarre
is
to me.
Listen,
I'm-
cannabis has been the catalyst for a lot of different things. Like I have a podcast tonight at 8 p.m. With Dr. Marion McNabb, and we're going to talk about psychedelics. Cannabis paved the way for the conversation with psychedelics, my friend.
Yeah, well, you got to
Opened
read
the
my
door.
blog about that because, and I love Dr. Mary McNabb. Don't worry. She's one of my favorite people. God, you got that.
Oh, great. Okay, we're
Oh,
all friends. This will be marvelous.
oh, man, I used to hang out on the streets of Boston with Dr. Marion McNabb back in the day when we had conventions in Boston. You know what I'm saying?
When people get together. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, but the point about all that is at some point we have to control what we're doing. Our behavior is wrong. I do worry about changing the course of conversation. I understand that when you talk about psychedelics, you talk about psilocybin, you're talking about
Yep.
magic mushrooms. Okay.
Yep.
And I understand that too is plant medicine, but can't we get on the same page on one plant medicine first before we move on to the others? Because to me, I really believe that feeds into that gateway discussion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't know if I can buy into that, brother. That psychedelics have been around for a long time.
I
They've been around for a long
and
time. They've been studied and utilized, and you know what? They're so powerful in in treating mental illness, and we have an epidemic. We have a
yes, we do.
pandemic of mental illness right now.
Oh my
I
God, another
I got to tell you, I disagree with you on that one. I think
good.
it's
We could
time to have them all in alignment at the same time.
let's
And you
let
know, Sherry, you're right. Combination is where it's at. So cannabis and psychedelics, absolutely.
responsible use
Oh my
once
God, yeah.
educated.
Oh, we're
Right,
always about safety and responsibility,
right.
hands down. And that's why it's the nurses. Ding 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 ding.
That's
Because the
good. Very
nurses
good.
are always going to do the right thing for you. And
Oh,
that's why nurses are the most trusted healthcare professional, 18 years and running.
is
Because
that
there's
why
no
you
joke.
is that one
We
of the
care
reasons
about
why you
people
got
and
into
make
it, Mark?
sure that they're safe. Huh?
Is that one of the reasons why you got into it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a
Yep.
beautiful thing. It's a
It is a
beautiful thing.
beautiful thing. So, Jimmy, any last comments, my friend, before we wrap this thing up? It's been
Yeah.
a great conversation, by the way. I absolutely love having you on.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And I love having you and Sherry as part of our team here. It's very important to me that we continue to wave the flag of education and responsible use. My last plug is this. I think we're something like 75 subscribers away from 7,000 on our YouTube channel. So
Yep.
I'm being a shameless plug here. Please like, share, subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Pro
Get us
Cannabis
over that
Media.
7,000 mark. We've made a tremendous inroads in the last 5 or 6 months, and actually the best is yet to come because there's so many exciting things that we're right on the verge of, and we can't wait to change the world with people like you and Sherry. I
Listen,
really,
that's
really
what we're
believe we're
here
doing
for,
that.
brother. We're here to change the world. We are here to make that difference. And you know, thanks for showing up here today, taking time out of your day early. And so,
By the
you
way,
know,
you
Jimmy,
want to do it at midnight sometime? That's when I peak, about midnight.
dude,
Okay,
I'm that kind of guy. Listen, I told you I was in Manhattan living there. You don't
that's
think
right.
the night starts at 11 p.m.
That's right. At
That's
least
when you
it did
take a
when we were
shower and start to head
25. It did when we
out.
were 25. Not anymore.
Oh, come on now. Come on. All right. So, guys, go to YouTube, like Pro Cannabis Media. That'll be a big help for Jimmy. He's 75 away from 7,000, which is a magic number. Join us in the Green Nurse Holistic Caring Community. You'll see the link will be posted. Absolutely join us there. And hey, join me tonight for a fascinating conversation with Dr. Marion McNabb. We're going to have a great time. We're going to talk about a lot of different stuff. So come on, join us. We'll be streaming on the Green Nurse, Facebook, and YouTube, and on Pro Cannabis Media with Jimmy Young. Thanks, Jimmy.
Thank you, Nurse Mark.
All
Bye,
right.
Sherry.
Love you guys. See you soon. Hey guys, welcome to the nurseMARK